Hey guys, it's Kira and welcome to another video. Today I am so excited to talk to you about a new 24-hour readathon that I'm going to be hosting at the end of August with my incredible friend Carolyn from the channel Carolyn Marie Reads. And that readathon is the Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon, which I am just so excited about. Now this won't actually be the first time that I've done a Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon, and it's also not the first time that I've done this along with Carolyn, because Carolyn and I are both such big Gilmore Girls fans. We absolutely love the show, and actually, to be perfectly honest, we've maybe gone a little bit beyond the realms of love and into the world of obsession, because we are both just so into the show and it is just absolutely incredible, and we share such an incredible love for Gilmore Girls and of course for one of our main characters, Rory Gilmore. As two people with booktube channels, I'm sure it's no surprise that Rory, who is literally probably the most well-read fictional character to ever exist on television, is a big idol for Carolyn and I think secretly, or not so secretly, we both kind of want to be her. And whilst unfortunately it's not actually possible to become Rory and live her life, which just looks so incredible, it is possible to try and embody your inner Rory Gilmore by just trying to be a little bit more like her. And of course, as she is such a big reader, one way to do that is by reading some of the books from the Rory Gilmore reading list. So Carolyn and I first both decided to do a Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon together earlier this summer, back in June, and we both just decided that because we love Rory and Gilmore Girls and classics so much, that it would be really fun to both film 24-hour readathons on the same day, focused around reading books from the Rory Gilmore reading list, which is a list of all 339 books that ended up being mentioned in Gilmore Girls, which is a lot of books. So we both had so much choice and ended up reading completely different things, but we also both watched Gilmore Girls on that day, had a FaceTime call together, and it was just such a lovely day. We of course both filmed them, and those vlogs are already up on our channels. They went up quite a while ago now because that was earlier this summer, and I don't think either of us realised how many people were going to enjoy those vlogs. As it turns out, Carolyn and I are not the only people who are obsessed with Gilmore Girls, and so many people seem to enjoy our 24-hour readathons where we tried to just be a little bit more like Rory. And because so many people seem to enjoy them, and of course because we both enjoyed filming them so much, we thought it would be really fun to do another Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon, but this time we're planning it in advance and we would love for you to join us. And so the new Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon, which Carolyn and I are hosting, is going to be on Saturday the 29th of August, going from midnight your time zone until 11:59 that day. But of course, if that doesn't quite work for you, just make it work for you. Sometimes I do my 24-hour readathons where I start at like 8 p.m. the night before and go till 8 p.m. the next day, just because I'm so not a night owl. But essentially it's just going to be surrounding Saturday the 29th of August, and we are all going to be reading books from the Rory Gilmore reading list, and essentially just trying to be as like Rory as we possibly can. And so the aim for this 24-hour readathon is simply just to embody your inner Rory Gilmore by reading as much as possible in 24 hours. And then if you want to take it that one step further, which is what Carolyn and I are going to be doing, you can make sure that all of the books that you decide to pick up in that 24 hours are from the Rory Gilmore reading list. That is just a list of the 339 books that were mentioned in Gilmore Girls, so you have plenty of choice, and I'm sure you'll be able to find something that suits you. Those lists are available all over the internet. There are literally hundreds of people who have taken the time to note down every single book that is mentioned in Gilmore Girls, which is such a task, and it's actually incredible that so many people have done it. But I like to use a particular one from BuzzFeed just because it has like a little tick box next to each of the books, so you can really find out like how many of them that you've read, and it's just really fun, and I particularly like that one. But of course, if there's another one that you prefer, then feel free to use that one. But I will link the one that I've used down below just so you can check that one out. So to participate in the Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon, all you need to do is simply join Carolyn and I on the 29th of August and read as much as possible throughout that day. It's as simple as that. However, we also thought that it would be really fun to throw in some additional challenges to this readathon. Now these challenges are completely optional, but I personally think that they're really fun and that they're going to make the readathon even better, because it's not all about books. Gilmore Girls has so much more to it than just reading, and we really wanted to embody the spirit of Gilmore Girls throughout this readathon. So we came up with a bingo board. We both threw ideas in there and we've come up with 9 challenges. And then Carolyn, who as well as just being an incredibly all-round wonderful person, is also an absolutely amazingly talented illustrator. And so she designed this bingo board, and she also designed any of the other graphics that you might see on social media relating to this readathon. And honestly, I'm just in awe of her artistic talents all the time. She just brings such a unique style, and I absolutely love them. So I am obsessed with the vibe that she's created throughout these graphics, and she created this incredible bingo board, which I'm so excited about. So on the bingo board, we have 9 different challenges, and it's completely up to you how you want to go about it. You might just like to randomly tick ones off throughout the day. Maybe you want to just go for a 3 across, maybe a 3 down, or like me, maybe you want to try and tick off all 9 of the challenges throughout the day. It's completely up to you, and they are all totally optional and just there for a little bit of additional fun. So the 9 prompts that we have on this bingo board are, first of all, to read under a study tree or a reading tree, just like Rory does at Yale. Then we have to make a meal for yourself that is inspired by Luke's Diner, which I think is going to be so fun because Luke's is just such a key part of Gilmore Girls and it's pretty much all they eat, so I feel like that's going to be a really fun one. And next up we have to read a cozy book. Now of course this can be any of the books from the Rory Gilmore reading list that you think are really cozy, or it can just be any other book that you want to read that you think will give you cozy Gilmore Girls vibes. Next up we have to read while listening to some music, and this can be any music that you fancy listening to whatsoever. Maybe an artist that you've heard referenced on Gilmore Girls, maybe the Gilmore Girls soundtrack, which I think I might personally listen to because it is just ultimate cozy vibes, or like I said, absolutely anything else you fancy whatsoever. We just thought this would be a really good one to throw in there because Gilmore Girls references so much music and it is such a big part of the show. And then of course it would not be a Gilmore Girls themed readathon without the Gilmore Girls themselves. And so we have on here to watch an episode of Gilmore Girls, or a few, because who can stop at just one, if you feel like you need a reading break, which you definitely will because no one can read for 24 hours without stopping. I don't even think Rory could do that. Unless of course you are a superhuman who feels like they can watch TV and read at the same time, which is something that I've continually tried to achieve but just never managed to. I always end up just watching TV and forgetting about the book. And then of course we know that the Gilmore Girls are infamous for their love/addiction to coffee. And so we have on here to drink some coffee or any other hot drink, just something that will make you feel cozy, because I know coffee isn't everyone's cup of tea, which is a weird phrase to say actually. And then for our final line on this bingo board, first up we have read a book from the Rory Gilmore reading list. Now like I said, I'm going to be trying to only read books from this reading list for this 24 hours, but you don't have to do that. So if you want to be able to tick off this prompt, then you could just read one book from this list and then just read whatever you want for the rest of the day. Then we have what I would probably say is the biggest challenge on this bingo board, and that is to try and read 3 or more books in this 24 hours. That's definitely quite a lot of books and something that Rory would definitely be able to do, but it's certainly a challenge. But these can be books of absolutely any length whatsoever. So if you're looking to read books from the Rory Gilmore reading list, there are actually surprisingly quite a lot of options for short books. I feel like Rory in my mind is someone who reads lots of really long classics, which is definitely true, but she also has some shorter books on the list as well. So there are some poetry collections which would be quite quick and easy to get through. There is also some plays, which again I personally find quite quick to read. And then we also have a few children's books. I think last time in our last 24-hour readathon, Carolyn picked up Stuart Little, which is of course a children's book, and she read that for this list. There's also Dr. Seuss's When the Grinch Stole Christmas, and then last time in the 24-hour readathon, I personally picked up Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which is just about 100 or so pages and really quick and easy to get through. So there are definitely lots of options which would make it quite easy to get through 3 books in one day. And then of course you don't have to be reading Rory Gilmore books, so you can pick any books of any length that you want to read and just try and read 3 books in the day. And the final challenge on this bingo board is simply to read a classic. This challenge just had to be on there because Rory is just renowned for being such a fan of classics, and if you look to the Rory Gilmore reading list, you certainly won't be short of choices because that list has hundreds and hundreds of classics on there. So of course it shouldn't be too tricky to pick a classic from that list, but if there is another classic that for some reason isn't on the Rory Gilmore reading list that has just been screaming out at you from your TBR and catching your eye, read that one because I'm sure Rory would approve. So I'm going to have such a fun time trying to tick off all of those challenges throughout the 24-hour readathon, and I'm really excited to get started. And of course, I'm really looking forward to reading as much as possible as well. I haven't fully decided my TBR yet, but there are a few books that have been catching my eye from the reading list. Some of the ones that I'm definitely tempted to try and pick up are Atonement by Ian McEwan, which quite a few people have recommended to me recently because I did a video where I saw how many of the books from the Rory Gilmore reading list I'd read, and one of the books I obviously hadn't read was Atonement, and a few people have said I should pick that one up. We also have On the Road by Jack Kerouac, we have Howl by Allen Ginsberg, we also have The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, which is, I think, one of the most iconic book references in Gilmore Girls. We also have The Crucible by Arthur Miller, we have Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger, we also have Snows of Kilimanjaro by Ernest Hemingway, and so many others. So I have quite a job ahead of me in trying to decide which books to read. Last time, like I mentioned, I read Alice in Wonderland. I also read Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and also a short story by Stephen King, which was Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. So I enjoyed ticking all of those books off, and I'm so excited to get started on my next Rory Gilmore challenge. I will of course update you on my final TBR in the 24-hour readathon that goes live after this readathon, but just to summarise everything that I've talked about today, Carolyn and I are hosting the Rory Gilmore 24-hour readathon on Saturday the 29th of August. The official timings for this readathon are going to be when it strikes midnight on the 29th of August, right up until 11:59 p.m. on that day. And we're just going to be trying to read as much as possible, as well as ticking off the challenges from our Rory Gilmore bingo board. It would be absolutely incredible if you wanted to join us, because we both had such a fun time in our last readathon and we absolutely cannot wait to do it again. If you fancy sharing a TBR, I would love to hear it, whether you post it on social media somewhere or whether you actually make a video about it. It would be incredible to know what you're planning to read. And of course, if you happen to vlog the day, please let me know, because I would love to watch. But until Saturday the 29th of August, I'm just going to be simply trying to decide which of the 339 books to pick up, and I absolutely cannot wait. Carolyn's channel will be linked down below, and keep an eye on both of our social medias for a few more updates and maybe our TBRs in the run-up to this readathon. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll be joining us, and I'll see you next time.